In the recent release of Barbados, what I defined as atmospheric black metal, shortly after the episode about accurate genre categorization, bonus episode 1 or 2, I submitted my album to Atmospheric Black Metal Albums on YouTube. Got a response recently that says that it's too experimental, not enough black metal, and even less atmospheric black metal. And rather than engaging with this person and asking him and bothering him on educating me properly and pissing myself off for not just simply making the music that's natural to me, I'm just going to talk about it here and be like figuring it out while I'm talking about it on here. Like, me thinking it's atmospheric black metal and defining it as atmospheric black metal, submitting it to atmospheric black metal, being rejected, and not sure what that's about. A part of me wants to plead my case a little bit, but that's not what this art form is for. Sit here pleading my case, like arguing about it, overthinking about it, overanalyzing. But I'm forced to put myself in a pretty dangerous position where I'm just sitting here questioning everything at this point and just questioning the entire thing, while knowing that I'm not going to give up and knowing that I'm not going to question too much, but the risk and the dangers are there of me sitting here overanalyzing the thing. So I know that I need to work on my craft a little bit more, and that's ultimately what someone would say if I were to care enough to seek out some sort of professional advice or expertise or get the 2 cents of somebody experienced in this thing. They're going to just say, work on your craft or continue and keep at it or something like that. But I already know that. And I already do that. And I consider it fun. But the questioning part of me has to say to myself, well, is it really fun anymore? And then the anger immediately arises at, well, of course it's fun, considering that everybody else right now is just literally AI generating every fucking thing, and it's just a swarm of a bunch of fake shit that I don't feel one way or the other about, and simply dance with, so to speak, and move with, sort of. So being a normal vagabond, traveler, wanderlust type creature, and then coupling that with being a naturally, inherently social creature, and then forcing myself into such a deep isolation and forcing myself into one spot. This is extreme. This is, again, just another repeat of a pretty troubled childhood that just once again, also, just like everything else, is getting lost in the slag as I record this episode and continue on with my podcast and continue making my music. Just like everything else, just getting lost to the darkness and being swallowed up by something larger. So whatever it is that's eating at me is ultimately at risk too, from what I'm doing and in making the music and in having the determination to continue and persevere and press forward and keep going and going and going. And that makes things just totally apathetic. Just makes things totally fucking responseless, emotionless, like empty and gray. And this art form, that's what this art form is for. You're supposed to write that stuff down into a song, make the songs, put the songs out. So right now I'm at war with the total enemy of anybody who's just totally anti-creativity. Not that AI or people using AI have anything to do with this, because it's still a similar version of creativity. But I'm just totally at war right now with anybody who's experiencing the same thing and then not communicating it through an art form of some sort. It doesn't have to be music, and it definitely does not have to be specifically black metal, let alone any of the other genres, the subgenres of black metal. But being rejected sucks, and I'm left with the total awareness and realization that I'm literally have become this tool that can serve my community in the way of my reaction to being rejected as some sort of good role model or something like that. Or once again, just how things may appear. There's a total lack of there's a total isolation and a total gridlocked situation going on here. And then there's a more serious and easily fixable one of just total communication breakdown, complete and total lack of proper communication going on here. So that could be a, you know, devastating blow for anybody who might be able to do something about that. But I'm constantly asked by the locals in this area, as well as everywhere else, certain questions that just wind up being so redundant that it's ridiculous that you can ask me as many questions as you want that might concern you, but you're not going to hear or remember anything that I'm saying as an answer. So with this platform being my only salvation and this kind of music being my only destiny, it's a fucking done deal. It's literally just set in stone. My fate is sealed, and I'm once again in this purgatorial space waiting to just kind of move on a little bit, or something like that, or maybe something else. I don't know, but I have to draw a conclusion and come to a decision at some point. But my mind has already been made up. I've already made my choice, and it's time for the universe to kind of start speaking to me a little bit more often than just constantly rejecting me and telling me no to this, no to that, and you're banned from here. Like, none of that. I mean, there's a pivotal point that's going to be when the status of this is updated and has changed. That'll be well documented through this podcast from me, the host. So I'm not sure what kind of music I'm making then, if I think it's something and somebody says that that's not what it is, when it is to me. It is to me through my intentions. I'm intentionally making this kind of music, and it appears natural to me. To me, it appears perfectly natural that that's what this kind of music is. And putting in all this extra effort to do so makes the decision ultimately that that's not what it is. Makes it, when it comes back to reality and comes down to it, that is not what this is. So there's a giant black hole there left in the wake of what the fuck has transpired here then. And me being aware of that, then, you know, I should just, I guess, take the money and run and use that for some sort of way to make it work. But that, through trial and error, I know for sure that simply doesn't work and won't work. So it just kind of is my way or the highway once again. And unfortunately, being in this country, that's a complete, total piece of shit attitude. being this specifically in this country. It'd be perfectly acceptable if I had real authorities to answer to, but we don't have a real system set up here that really effectively controls the population. So it's quite unfortunate that I was born in the United States. And that's my first opening piece for that. So enjoy the rest of this bonus episode, as it has become an hour-long one. This featured track is going to be in the middle of the show, so enjoy Adrenaline.
Adrenaline, I need another one. Adrenaline, I need it. Give me that now. Adrenaline, I need another one. Adrenaline, I need it. Give me that now. Balls buried in the cold. Only 8 years old. Need grounds of worship. Oh no! Motives of my foes. Growing desperate. Something of fire. Collections of skin. And of blood. Experiment. No cause compared to the Afghanistan. A madness is there in the town. So these are no care. For a mass crime in bad. Young lives are new. Those wandering down die kids. Land of the flesh when we come on you. Years passion anguish is still buried under you. Before our life or not seems gone. The innocent fall. Disregard for what is not within inspiration of this.
So I'm fucking just mentioned something about being rejected by a YouTube channel. But I'm stoked and I'm fucking excited and I'm pumped about my creation, because it is slowly but surely evolving and becoming something greater than whatever. It'll get greater later, as they say. Let's jump into this next segment. Hey, what's up? Didn't know you guys were still there. Wow. I had the big old 4-0. So we can start conducting these episodes the way that they should be conducted here. For the most part, I have been slacking and constantly always missing something. Constantly always missing something good and something important, and it makes me upload millions of shorts. Oh god. I'm uploading like multitudes and a cornucopia. I'm not sure which word I'm looking for, but a bunch of shorts on my official YouTube channel. I am mickeygemineye. This is the Vault of Doom podcast, episode 40. On this episode today, I have to fucking broadcast to you the goddamn motherfucking how much I love cursing. I love cussing. I love swearing. But no, honestly, I don't appreciate that kind of joking from myself, and that's what this episode is about. Is that there are too many jokers making the metal genres categories of under some kind of joke. Is this some kind of joke? Is what I'm gonna have to write down that I'm gonna title this, or I will forget. that is literally, this is literally going to go straight off the top of my dome too a little bit here, considering that so I do things most of the time, for one, and two, I could never, with all the time in the world, ever express enough how little I care about the whole thing, generally speaking, in a general sense. But not that the actual freaking stuff has escaped me, but Mac Sabbath, okay, that's fast food metal. There's very popular too, and then there's a fine line that divides these jokers and just literally making up metal genres as a joke for how unrelenting, pitiless, and absolutely like what can be expected from a genre that has the title metal. Just rock solid, unpenetratable. There's a fine line between that, so it's understandable between that and the actual how much of it that I actually kind of can understand. I can understand, how much. What I'm trying to say is that it's affecting my judgment. It's clouding my judgment, and it's affecting my discernment of things, where I have no qualms embracing cosmic black metal, atmospheric black metal, pagan folk black metal, all the black metal genres. I don't have any problems. I'm metal bias. I have no problems worrying about all the other stuff. Something that would come to mind would be the ridiculous amounts that people will add in, or the jokes. Now, under the context of adding this stuff under a meme is a totally different story. Actually uploading the music under supercalifragilisticexpialidocious metal. I mean, that's your fast food metal, or I was exercising and walked to the treadmill the other day, so I made a song on the treadmill and I called it treadmill metal, kind of thing. I'm forced to now look at this and despise it, and then look at the other thing, for example, the ones that I mentioned, and have no problems with it at all. So I've become quite biased in my genre categorization, and I also, as this is a bonus episode 3 in this season, mention this in bonus episode 2 or bonus episode 1 of this season, as each bonus episode is just numbered by what season they're on. So there's been more bonus episodes. This is the third one on this season. However, mentioned something about accurately defining what genre my second debut album of this particular project that I'm working on right now. And that's a whole nother can of worms, that if my discernment's being judged, or my judgment's being clouded, my discernment's being affected by this, then it's also affecting how I'm putting out my own music and defining my own music. I can go by the guidelines. I can go off of basic guidelines and say, well, with some synthesizer in it, then it's defined as atmospheric, or with some synthesizer in it, it's defined as some orchestral elements in there. It's defined as symphonic, or something like that. But I clearly have obviously no way of getting out of this box I'm clouding myself in with. The accurate genre specifications is one aspect of this episode, and the jokers that create literally like 10 different types of genres: atmospheric, pagan, folk, cosmic, symphonic, something like that. This was mentioned in a comedy TV show exclusive to YouTube that I had mentioned in a previous episode, called Heavy Metal Hitchhiker, where a Canadian guy hitchhikes across the country to go give a guitar back to his favorite band, and then he winds up being a roadie for the band, or wants to be a roadie for the band, or something like that, and he rides his bike to his dream, or something like that. And that's perfectly fine, and the clouding the judgment is perfectly fine until I say something about it, until I mention something about it. It's okay until it's not. And like the context by which I'm mentioning it too might seem a bit like I'm barging in and interrupting something, but in the middle of that, there's quite a pretty serious problem. Quite a larger problem comes to my awareness, that the very name of my project starts to come under duress and starts facing judgment when it isn't necessary, as I just embrace the name. And that is in and of itself quite sufficient for me to be satisfied with what I do, how I do it, and everything else afterwards. This should be something that the audience picks up on, as well as me picking up on, with the tone of voice and the vibe here, and scene and setting, on how it feels that I'm sounding right now. What I'm trying to say is I sound like I'm constantly explaining myself and making some big announcement and making myself bigger than I really am, when I'm not. I'm very just real with things. I'm very down to earth with things. And so that said, let me crack the old knuckles, stretch the old arms, and check my database here for what else I have for you in this quick little bonus episode to get you through until International Podcast Day. Now, quick reminder, last week I published 3 episodes, full length, none of which were bonus. It was episode 36 through episode 38. Episode 39 was just published today. And this is the bonus episode 3. So for the actual announcements of the show and future topics, there's a short available that tells you what the future topics are going to be about, as there are a few of them. And all the things that I have to basically try and squeeze into this episode is as I sift through, of course, my personal stuff that I don't want to share. And it's free country right now, so I'm at liberty of not sharing every single thing if I don't want to. And so the actual announcements that I have are that the stuff that's available been up on the official channel of mine are pretty long, pretty large in number. There's plenty of stuff for you guys to check out. Maybe you're on the clock or you're working right now and you flip through shorts and see what's on your feed, and maybe you follow me, maybe you're subscribed to me, and then my videos show up. But I've got quite a on the last episodes, the last two of them, I think, not the one before last. I'm referring to 2 episodes when I say I've been dubious lately of a few things that I've noticed in my analytics and demographics. And I'm referring to the previous episode before this and the one before the one before that. So in number, I actually know episode 37 and then 39. I'm just getting quite dubious about a few different things. I'm mentioning these things. It'd be nice to engage in some conversations with other people who can maybe tell me if they've experienced the same thing, or if they know somebody that has experienced the same thing, as these kinds of curiosities can really do a number on your mental health. And I'm also seeing a few other improvements that I need to make to the channel and how I actually put out and push out the content. So that's one of the things I won't be sharing, as I can work on that personally and do that on my own time. The couple of things that I would like to mention would be some stuff like that I would need some help with, and trying to keep this show relevant and current with everything has never been a challenge, but it does appear as though it is starting to become a bit of a challenge, sort of, per se, considering that I keep becoming aware of new things that is wrong with me personally and new things that are wrong with the channel. I won't take things personally if there's something wrong with the channel, or if there's something wrong with the way that I do things, but after a while it certainly does become quite personal, considering my willingness to put in the necessary efforts and necessary work to change it. I've got a few music videos on the back burner that have been filmed actually within the last 2 years. So that footage is going to be super juicy. It's really great and awesome, and I feel really fortunate to have the ability to do this, first and foremost. And I feel really quite pleased with the quality of the stuff that I put out. I just put out, oh goodness me, silly me, I actually just released a music video yesterday. So there's 2 music videos in total available and out now for streaming from Pitiful Spawn on my Pitiful Spawn YouTube channel. And what I was mentioning, where I was going with that quality thing, is to have some footage gestate for more than 1 year, probably more than 2 years when I started filming this footage, and then bust it out later. Also filming some of the footage from traveling across the country, just coming and going as I please like a cat, and I can just prance around and dance around and fucking run around with my goddamn phone and film shit. It's really wacky. It's really wacky. It makes the rest of the world pretty pissed off at this country. So I can see and understand slightly why there might be some wacky and funky shit going on around here with all this stuff that I've been dubious about and mentioning in the episodes. As I proceed and continue going on and ranting, raving, rambling about these music videos, the stuff that's in the new episodes has quite a bit of improvement, as I now feature I'm pretty sure ever since 7, pretty much the whole season now. This new season has had stories, featured tracks from my new project, and the most recent has a track from the most recent upload, and it's a snippet. I even improved. I deserve some big kudos and congratulations and stuff for improving on that. Adding a snippet into the last episode. Wow. Really job well done, Mickey. And I don't mean to toot my own horn, but that snippet thing is quite snazzy, if I don't say so myself. I always like words like that, snazzy, and oh, that's swell, or just other old school terminology. It just warms my place that my heart used to be. And as for the fucking other music videos and adding the footage combined with the stuff now, with the new footage now, I mean, that's what's gonna make these music videos so great, considering I'm doing all the stuff myself and everything else that goes along with it, other than just getting started. So I do have to have a side note, and as a quick message to anybody else interested in starting a show or doing anything like that, that I have been living the advice given to me of start right away. But I came across that on Streamer Camp, it's called, series of videos for Twitch Streamer Camp. It was an email newsletter sent to me through email from Twitch for having a Twitch stream active for a few years. That the advice given from one of the streamers I regularly watch, or used to, as I haven't been doing much of anything at all except pushing out some of the stuff that needs to go. And the start right away advice and start right away pro tip is a must. It's a must that you start right away, and it's a must that I express that, and it's a must that I have been doing the same thing as well. If you check out another quick thing, I have a self-promotion moment for now. That if you check out the last episode of this show, it'll serve as a very adequate reintroduction of me and myself, and there's quite a lot of information. I did spare some of the illegal activities, as I don't know who my audience even is right now at all. So there's quite a bit of the illegal activities being excluded from there. I also excluded the drug use and my history of drug use. I've concluded to just reserve that, and even in interviews for future reference, when and if interviewed by other people, I'm just going to reserve my right to not share my history of drug use with anybody. But I certainly will encourage it. I will encourage by all means, experimenting with illicit substances and having the benefits rain down upon you in terms of how it can evolve your creative orifices. But that's good. That's a good thing I did that. It's a good thing I'm able to even express that. And the fucking last episode would be a blast for you to check out. It's a long one. It's a lengthy one, guys. So make sure if you got a road trip or a long day of something you need to burn a couple hours for, it is 2 hours long. It is almost 2.5 hours long. So buckle up and prepare yourself for a wild ride on episode 39. But here, continuing on with this episode, what I want to do is go over the music videos that I mentioned, the recent content. I'm trying to find my place, see where I was here. I think I might have been going somewhere with this, but some of it's might be written down, some of it might not be written down. The improvements of the show, other than that last one, the snippets, is the new theme song. The new theme song is also going to be refreshed without warning, and as well as the interlude music, or introduction music rather, that serves as some background noise while I'm introducing the show and what the topics are about. But adding in featured tracks is a huge thing. But let's cut straight into here in story time here. So I have to do this the way that I always do this, and the way that I like doing this, and that is also without warning and spontaneous. That whatever story comes to mind, I'm sharing with you, and that's as exclusive and entertaining as it gets. So I don't have to follow stupid fucking cocksucking YouTube email newsletters that say, keep your fucking trending content fucking relevant with this. My shit's already fucking interesting. It just got me in some kind of social media jail or social media purgatory. I'm in some internet purgatory at the moment. So I'm living it up and not giving a fuck during a time when clearly and evidently nobody's got that kind of attitude and mentality nowadays. At least not genuinely. For how can you? When you have all of the crazy and wacky things that we have nowadays, I would rather even not indulge and begin to enter into the territory of giving examples, nor would I like to stray from those either. I wouldn't like to stray from that either. So thou shalt not test me. Been mentioning some cool stories about the supernatural and animals. So with that being having set the pace for this season, I'll keep it in that domain. There was a brief mention of some of this in the last episode. If you really follow and you really listen to what I'm saying, you will find it in the last episode. So I won't rerun over the same things. I don't prefer to recycle that kind of thing. But cool story to be getting into is literally got to be set under the premise of Agent Smith type events happening that it's unclear and to me whether I am or am not supposed to talk about it. A. B. How would I use my intuition for such things to tell myself what I am and am not supposed to talk about? B. C. I just simply don't understand this concept whatsoever of censoring myself. So let's consider what I've just said right now. That I've set the context of the people being possessed under Agent Smith from the Matrix style spirit possessions type thing. This is a story of possessions, demonic possession, okay? And then B, why it's important to try to encourage other people to do the same under this context that I am recording a podcast right now that will be broadcasted to the world. I know what I'm probably thinking if I'm reviewing this years later and listening to myself later and thinking, oh God, this is what I'm thinking right now, and it's gonna really trip me out, freak me out, and make it all the more hilarious if I fucking say that. So whatever, here's the goddamn story. So I was basically in a situation where I needed water. And so I went into, and this was very recently, this was this year. I had a situation where I needed water, and I even tried to fucking freak out about this before and like make little shorts. And I think some of this is even added into my movie in the deleted scenes. So there's just the spreading of the virus and the infection fucking all over the place now. And having me in some kind of internet purgatory is the combat zone where fighting it or whatever it is by making a bunch of fucking wacky shit where I get all these dubious questions that I'm not actually asking these questions. I certainly care. I'm not going to waste my time or breath or energy, money, anything asking the questions. Anyway, I needed water, so I go into this place and the guy fucking just like, excuse me, do you have a membership here? And I'm like, no, I don't have a membership here. And thus I caught myself red-handed right now, trying to Mandela effect myself, when the motherfucker did not ask if I had a membership there. He just said something other than, do you have a membership there? So, facts, that's Mandela effect fucking with my head. Broadcasted live right here. Facts. The guy, you know, the fucking shit that I just said right now, that's fact in and of itself. But that's not for me to process. That's for, I don't even fucking know who. But you can certainly get entertainment from this. The guy did not fucking ask me if I had a membership there. He just started acting like a piece of shit. I responded by saying, you know, hey, you know, no problem. I don't have any fucking, don't want any trouble. I don't have any problem, you know, respecting that you are asking me not to be here or something like that, you know, something along those lines. And then I left. And then the situation came where I actually really needed the water the next time. So I went in there and the same thing happened. And this one ended in a fucking argument. Oh my God. I had a fucking fake $100 bill, a half of a fake $100 bill in my pocket, that for some reason during this confrontation I whipped out of my pocket and threw on the ground and stuff. And the guy filmed me. The guy violated my fucking privacy, busted out his phone, filmed a video of me and said, I'm filming you, I'm recording a video of you. And I screaming at him, of course I'm being a fucking piece of shit right back to him. And he's, you know, threatening to call the police. He said he called the police saying this and that and blah blah blah. Needless to say, I never showed back up there again. and I didn't have any real interactions with anybody after that. But when people don't fucking approach you and ask you if you have a membership for somewhere because they think that you don't belong there, and they just start acting like an asshole right off the bat, it's a pretty clear-cut instance of demonic possession. I mean, the motherfucker was possessed by something. Something possessed him to approach me and just go try to confront me about, you know, me not knowing who I'm broadcasting to is pretty similar to these people constantly becoming possessed by some malevolent forces, that they respond in this manner. They don't know who I am. And that's one of the sentiments that I say to myself, that I have to say to myself, as well as literally verbally vocalize out loud to the trees that I'm surrounded by here on the planet Earth while these things happen, or after these things happen. And I don't know what the fuck could possibly be done about stuff like this, other than literally just piece by piece kind of tell the tale, like experience these things that are truly dime a dozen, very common, happens all the fucking time, and then document this stuff, broadcast this stuff, publish my documentation and broadcastings onto the YouTube platform owned by Google, who fucking, further makes everything further, like, worse. It just makes everything worse. It further makes everything all fucked up. Like having a half of a fake $100 bill in my pocket that I whip out and throw on the fucking ground after this happens and shit. I mean, there's no dumbass on the fucking goddamn planet that couldn't figure out that with Google and all that technology, that motherfucker can probably hear what I'm saying while I'm broadcasting you. And so there's really actually ultimately no need for me to put in the work at all for fucking publishing and broadcasting any of this stuff, aside from the fact that how much of my fucking rights are completely being fucking molested and violated in this, as well as the expression of that, seeing how I feel about that, and then still trying to call that accurate. So it's a two-way street here, that I shouldn't be able to talk about this stuff, A, and B, whoever is really my aggressor or the what's that word? The antagonist in these instances, in this series of unfortunate events, that you shouldn't be able to accurately convince yourself that these are my genuine and authentic sentiments. It's just gonna come down to essentially whatever the fuck it is that ends up becoming a decision for what all these series of events are determined or categorized as, defined as. There's not going to be this isn't some sort of civil law suit, like courtroom stuff. But when I tell myself that this guy asked me if I had a membership and he didn't ask me if I have a membership, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that I'm clearly just pushing everything out, like calling it laissez-faire, calling it whatever's natural, and calling it whatever's clever, and then meanwhile the things that actually happen are wrong in and of itself. But motherfuckers know that and knew that right off the bat. It's just a matter of what this becomes afterwards that fucks everything up all the while I'm making extremely fucking disturbing music. Well, that's about as much as I'm gonna let you bite off and chew for taking up another piece of me for today, folks. Lions, and aspiring black metal musicians alike. I wrote that down in some of my stuff. I have very detailed narratives in all my work, and I do it myself. I don't use AI. And the notes, one of the side notes on there was intended to help aspiring black metal musicians with blank. You know, one of them was like songwriting skill. The other one was utilization of resources, meaning something like, you know, all I got is a penny whistle, a fucking travel-sized acoustic guitar, and then this fucking, like, completely outlandish, totally raped and pillaged, overly done, cliche ass software program or something like that. I don't fucking know. I have no fucking idea what any of this stuff is. Nobody will tell me a goddamn thing about myself. I'm sitting over here forcing to interview myself or being interviewed on my own show or etc, etc, etc. But anyway, that's all the time I have for this episode, this bonus episode of the show. I am mickeygemineye, and this is the Fault of Doom podcast. Bonus episode number 3. Bring your freaking beers for the next episode, because I'm going to be needing to bust out my fucking craft beer catalog that I have been keeping record of all the beers that I've been drinking for the last 3 years. 4 years? Maybe more? 4? 3 or 4 years I've been keeping track of all the beers and craft beers I've been drinking. I like beer. I like beer a lot, so I'm going to do a whole episode on it sometime soon, but salute to the motherfuckers like me who actually fucking ain't afraid to fucking be brave, be bold, and get their fucking hands dirty and do this, even though this is fucking extreme. This is just crazy. I know I'm not talking off the fucking recording. It sounded like I did, but I haven't stopped the recording yet. I'm just gonna bid you guys adieu and fucking shut up and metal.